I like click subscribe, do all that. You know what time it is? Netflix time. This movie's called Deep.
Four insomniac med school students are lured into a neuroscience experiment that spirals out of control, and they must find a way out before it's too late.
It's one of those Thai sci-fi movies, just came out. It's about an hour 41 minutes long. Spoiler alert, let's get it.
So we start off with this random guy just standing on the rooftop looking like he's about ready to jump. Yeah, just standing there ready to take the plunge. You can see police and everybody trying to get to him. Then all of a sudden this motherfucker falls off the roof. Then we got this lady named Professor Nicole. She's talking about sleep deprivation and insomnia. And that is literally the key to this whole movie. So here we have this lady named June. All she does is study. She's got a sister that always comes home late. She has a grandma who's always sick in bed. And she's pretty much got to pay rent and everything else. And there's her sister on the left. Now the thing is, she's thinking about quitting med school because she don't have time. She got all these other obligations to fulfill. So Professor Nicole offers this job to her. But she was reluctant at first, but then she heard about how much it pays and then she accepted. It's not even like a job really, it's more like this dude is explaining this experiment. So basically he puts a chip into her neck and they go through different levels. She's on level 1 right now. And she also has a watch that she puts on that stimulates her melatonin. Now the moment it gets to 100%, she could come back and claim 100,000 yen. But you have to stay awake during the whole process, and he forgets to mention at the last point, if you fall asleep for over 60 seconds, it'll cause the chip to malfunction and you could die. Gee, Doc, thanks for telling me after that fact, you fucker. See, that's the melatonin watch. The only reason she even took something this drastic is because she owes about 780,000 yen. Bills been backed up, all that stuff. Sister ain't got no money. Grandma ain't got no money. She's paying for everything. And she even sells food out the house too. So the money's basically a lot of help. Wouldn't be willing to kill myself over that shit, but the doctor did tell her after the fact, so I'm pretty sure she probably wouldn't have wanted to do that shit either. Well, anyway, her sister's always coming home late. She's thinking that she's smashing on some dudes or something. She's like, man, we got important things to worry about. You know, like grandma and keeping this household whole. So now it's day 2. She's been holding up. Now this is supposed to be a secret experiment. Apparently other people know about it, like this guy named Win. Yeah, he's got a watch too. Along with this girl named Peach. This girl named Sin, and this dude named Peach. Fuck that, yo. I'm calling him Sin, and I'm calling the girl Peach. Well, anyway, these guys want to link up together to find ways to keep themselves awake. So they get each other's numbers and all that. They get their rotonin at 100, and they all get their cheese. They all buy frivolous stuff with it, except for June. She pays off some bills. So later on around school, Peach feels like somebody's stalking her or something. She's got like over 10,000 followers, so she's like some type of YouTube sensation. But all 4 of them get together. They just chilling, bowling and whatnot. And they're actually thinking about going back to the doctor to do it again to get to level 2. Win pushes Sin to walk Peach home because, you know, he's kind of like a loner. He's real shy, just a video game head. And he walks with her to get her cab. She's very outspoken and he's much the shy type. Then they head on home. June's been bringing in a lot of cake lately. Her sister's like, hey man, where you get all this money from? She's like, don't even worry about it, I got this. But the only reason why she asked this is because her sister June accidentally broke her old phone, so she ended up getting her a new phone. Apparently a way more expensive phone than the one she had. Meanwhile, checking the Win's life and we see him and his dad. Win does a whole lot of partying and drinking just so he doesn't have to be around his dad. Now Peach on her YouTube stuff does a lot of things with makeup. And her parents always wanted her to grow up to be a doctor or something, but she always wanted to deal with communications. So the group has been having a little bit of problems, but they go back to the doctor again. And they want to do a level 2, which they can make 500,000 yen on. But obviously they would have to stay awake longer. And considering the time frame they did round 1, round 2, I think would last about 5 days for them. They think about all the things they could do with the money. Win is thinking about getting a new bike. Peach is thinking about getting her chest enhanced. Sin is thinking about having enough money to marry Peach. The funny thing about Sin is he's rich. His people's got dough. The melatonin is taking longer to develop, and you already can tell right now they go through sleep deprivation. Win walks onto the basketball court barely conscious. He missing the ball all the way fucked up. Keep in mind this is day 3. Then he starts hearing shit. He thought he heard somebody say, yeah, that's why your mom died, you loser. Then he turns around and punches this guy in the face, but the dude never even said anything. So he's basically starting to hear shit. Yeah, their melatonin levels are only at 35 and 40 and it's on day 3, and you could tell they're already getting irritated because they haven't got no sleep. June's been taking it out on her sister. Day 4, Peach is walking in looking like a fucking zombie. Then we get to botany class. You can tell by her moods and sleep deprivation she is not prepared to be doing any of this shit right now. Her hand starts shaking around. Then she started seeing things. She thought her grandmother was on the table. Yeah, that shit is wild. So then all 4 of them get with each other and they realize the melatonin levels are not really that much higher. They're like in the 40s and 43, 42 and whatnot. And keep in mind, it has to be at 100 and they're already on day 4. So June comes up with the idea like, hey, we need to be moving around or something like that, get our levels up. So Win suggests going to Sin's house. They got energy drinks on deck, jumping in pools and all that. Then all of a sudden while June is talking to Win, she has this crazy ass flashback. It was after he asked her about his parents. And all of a sudden she's thinking about this puddle of blood sitting near her door. Let's just say her parents are not around no more. Now when it comes to Win, his mom's not around no more, but the thing is she killed herself. Then you got Peach and Sin doing whatever they need to do to keep themselves awake. So then Win all of a sudden gets the idea of finding stimulant pills and mixing it with drinks to keep everybody awake. And June is like, damn, this might kill us anyway. He's like, no, we good, trust me. Besides, do you have another plan? Then they drink them shits and get it cracking. Everybody starts dancing, going crazy. So we like, June, you gonna get up and start dancing? Because if you start sitting down, you already know what it is. So Win gets her up and then she starts going crazy. That was just to pick them up to get their melatonin levels rising. Then all of a sudden out the blue, June kisses Win. It's like, oh shit. Then Peach starts looking in the mirror. She starts wandering off. She's starting to hear noises again, so she goes into another room. She stumbles into Sin's room, but what she finds in there is computers and a whole wide range connected of her videos. She looks over at the wall, sees all these pictures of her. Yeah, she found out Sin was actually the one that was stalking her. This shit freaked her out so much that she passed out. So when they heard her scream and she passed out, they're like, oh fuck, we got 60 seconds to wake her ass up. They pretty much trying everything. CPR, blowing into her mouth, they about to use electric shock. Literally at the last second, she wakes up, which ironically brought all their melatonin levels to 100. They go back to the doc like, man, give us our 500,000 shit dollars and get the fuck out of here. They was like, man, look, we ain't doing no more experiments. Peach almost died. Fuck out of here. So after 5 days of being awake, they all get some well-deserved rest. Sleep and all that shit. Next day, Sin tries to apologize for his actions, but Peach ain't trying to hear none of that. He said he wasn't trying to stalk her. He was just trying to give her likes up with her Instagram followers and all that. But he does like her for real. He says if nothing else, can we still be friends though? She's like, man, I ain't trying to hear none of that shit. She's like, get away from me before I call security. Then June talks to Professor Nicole again. She says she quit the experiments. Miss Nicole said, that's good because you've been slipping in class. So Wynn meets up with June after that. He said he's got some tickets to a concert. But she said she got too much on her plate. She's sorry, but she ain't even feeling him like that. Yeah, so basically she forgot about the kiss she gave you at the party. It's like, really? So what does he do? Continues his parties and getting furred. So while June is going into school, something happened. People was crowding around somebody's dead body. They just happened to have a watch on. You know, the same watch. Somebody else must have went to one of them experiment things too. Yeah, more of a reason to be like, alright, that's enough of that shit. Then she comes back home and finds her grandma laid out. She got taken to the hospital. Then when you get to the hospital, her sister gets there and she gives her a shitload of money. And she's like, where you get all this money from? Come to find out, her sister's been doing the experiments too, but how the hell she know about it? Turns out she saw the card that Miss Nicole gave her just laying in her room. So she tried to tell her, this stuff is dangerous, you can't be doing that. She's like, look, you can't tell me I can't help my own grandma. And they both had their reasons for doing what they needed to do. Then we get a situation where Wynn checks his room and we realize that his dad has moved all his mom's stuff out of there. So he's basically pissed off at his dad, but his dad's like, look, I tried everything I could to help your mom. The thing was, his mom was on drugs and she ended up shooting herself. And it's been like 3 years and he just doesn't want to live with that memory anymore. So then she comes back to the house and finds that her sister's gone. And she's not picking up her phone either. She goes back to the doctor and finds her sister sitting in a chair. And apparently she's been doing it enough to be on level 3. I'm like, oh shit. So she threatens to sue the doctor, but she's like, you didn't read the fine print, did you? He says, look, I'll be able to take the chip out early if you bring the rest of your friends to come back and do round 3. So now she gathers all her friends up to try to help out her sister. But they're scared to death to do a round 3. They barely survive round 2. So Sin and Peach leave, but Wynn is sticking by her side. He said, look, we just go out there and negotiate with him or something. Meanwhile, they hoping the operation goes well with their grandma. The sister was able to get enough money to keep her in that specific hospital. Peach still doing her YouTube stuff, but you could tell she feeling some type of way. So they're ready to go see the doctor. But then they see Sin there. He's got to change her heart. And even Peach eventually showed up. So now they're in this lab room and Miss Nicole is overseeing the project. She got a bunch of amphetamines and all this other stuff to make sure they stay awake. Because this trial is definitely going to last longer than 5 days. And she says to call if you need anything immediately. So they're in there for 6 days at this point, and all of a sudden they start hallucinating. Sin starts seeing fire coming through the doors. Peach is imagining her face breaking out. Wynn starts seeing visions of his mom. June starts seeing her sister on the floor dying. But her sister's over top of her. She's not even there. So after a while, everybody starts spazzing out and picking fights. Sin and Wynn start fighting, fist fighting. June's trying to calm everybody down. It's no good. Then she starts scooping around looking for Miss Nicole. Come to find out, she finds security cameras, an operating room, all this other stuff. And she finds some paperwork stating that Professor Nicole is in charge of the entire operation the whole time. What in all of the fuck? She ends up coming in there, chasing her out the room. And because she's been up for like 6 or 7 days straight, she's all disoriented. She trips on the steps. They lock them all back in the room as another day go by. Yeah, it's 7 days straight at this point. Then Wynn falls asleep. Oh shit. Then he's having visions about his mom killing himself. Then she comes back in all concerned as his counter hits 0. So we thinking to ourselves, this motherfucker's dead. Oh shit. But as she removed the chip out of his back, he gets back up. It's like, what the fuck? So apparently he had a shot of something so he could feel like his heart stopped, basically faked his death. And now they got a cornered all in the room like, yo, what's the deal? So she shows him why she put all these kids in this predicament to begin with. So this guy is laying over here. This dude, his name is Jay. Turns out Jay is her boyfriend. He was studying at the school and also was doing these experiments. Come to find out, he was the same guy that fell off the building at the beginning of the movie. Now, how the hell he survived, I have no idea. She was trying to find a cure through these kids to get him back to life. But yes, in the process, you're risking their fucking lives. They had a scuffle, but somehow in between all the scuffling, he ended up hitting June with a tranquilizer. I'm like, oh shit. Putting her straight to sleep and started the countdown. Then it gets to 0, we thinking she's dead, like what the fuck? But somehow they electric shocked her and got her back to life. They called the police. Miss Nicole and everybody working with her got locked up. They took all the chips out of him. When did his dad make peace with the fact that her mom is gone? June and her sister are helping out at the house. Grandma's doing just fine. Peach quit med school and now she's doing full-fledged communications. And all her friends are back together enjoying life and enjoying sleep. Wow, that was a lot. Deep on Netflix. Check it out. Like, click, subscribe, do all that. You already know the time of this. Look easy, all the easy, man. Stop. Big. Get that damn slogan.